And contrary to what you said down there, we won. We won that case because they had to do the other side of the bridge differently. Because they did the right-hand side of the bridge, they broke their own rules. And we won that case. So we did win.
That's it, come on.
No, I just want to ask this question.
Quick.
Because it's something we haven't
Yeah,
touched
come on then.
The bridge is built there, right? And the bridge was only built to service the brewery site, end of. Right? They're talking about a spur. Oh, this lovely terminology, a spur. That's what comes off an animal's thing. A lovely spur was going to come off into the brewery site. There was going to be no HGVs. You know, that was for HGVs. Now we're not going to have any HGVs. The bridge itself, it's going to come out where they knocked the two houses on Vicar Street. And just think about it. Where is all the traffic going to go? Where's it going?
Up the Watts Road.
Yes, exactly. Where they're bringing it all out through two houses that they knocked down, and where is it going? Could you answer that?
It's going up Dean Street.
Just a minute.
I don't mind.
Right. Would you mind if... will you take that question?
I'll take that.
And will you take that question? We have two views on that question, and then I'm going to wrap up after that.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to take your last contributor?
Well, quick. Go on.
Sorry, I have the same
This
fears.
is Connor.
Sorry, I have the same fears as Kay. I have to say, when I've been hearing about the contamination of the site, and I wonder, was the 750,000 actually to limit the liability of Diageo?
Yes.
And were we not actually doing Diageo a favour
Yes.
in taking the site off
Yes.
and so on?
Yes.
So I have to say, I'm recurring the idea of a nightmare of the film that was made about the building of houses on the Indian burial sites in relation to this what's going on to this site here, and the amount of slab that they're talking about putting over it. Is it enough? But the point I'd like to make is that what is behind all of this in reality, the commercialisation of it, the fact that the council can't borrow when the government can borrow at less than 1% currently to get funding, and they can't make that available to the councils, and that they're trying to make everything operate on the basis of making a profit, of being private, and the same thing is happening in relation to housing, that the councils aren't able to borrow themselves to build directly. Everything has been privatised out. And the problem to me is the cartel that is developing on the council with Fianna Gael or Fianna Fáil, and just as it is happening on the national stage right at this moment.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. Right, I'm going to throw this. I'm going to throw this back to the two lads. We're at 9:30.
Can I just come back to both Canis's and Ms. Duggan's first? Alina, sorry.
Monica.
Canis said that the sole brief was commercial. There is a guiding set of terms as to by which this partnership can operate, and it includes, and I just list them: commercial, educational, cultural, residential. Sorry, I have the document in my pocket here. You can read it out. There are a whole range of social uses that this property can be brought to. Secondly, nobody, and I say this as a Kilkenny person born and bred, the same as many of you in the room, and many of you have come to feel that Kilkenny is your home. I have a huge interest and stake in ensuring that this city thrives, our city centre stays alive. Not on a commercial basis, but because this is my home. I've raised my family in it, and I'm very proud of Kilkenny, as I'm sure you are. I don't want to see a single thing happen to it that is going to harm it or hurt it. I don't want to see I don't want to see a commercial retail centre down there. And in fairness, Malcolm can verify, 2 years ago when we were renewing the development plan, I fought extremely hard, and it took a lot of persuasion at the time to get changes to the development plan to protect that so that it didn't become a retail centre. I don't believe we need another big retail centre in Kilkenny, and I don't believe that this is what is proposed. I believe there has been misinformation on that front, but that's not the actual reality. In relation to this young man's point about the people in this room don't own it. Well, I believe, maybe I'm naive, but I believe that the state, the government of the nation, and local government represents you, and we get a chance to pick those people to represent you every 5 years. And you may be unhappy with the current batch and bunch, and you may want to throw them all out, including me. You may want to throw me out in due course. That's your prerogative. But it is democracy, whether we like it or not. And these people do represent you. And one of the things I'm very disappointed with this evening is the poor turnout of public representatives here myself. I would like to have seen more. And I believe that it's important that people listen to the voice of the people. And I just say this last thing in my own defence. I was lucky enough to be the mayor when the brewery was bought. And the very first thing we did at that time was we called a public meeting. Michael Conway was at it and many others who were in the room. I called a public meeting at that time to hear the voices of the public, and I have no difficulty coming and listening to the voices. But I will challenge you when I think there is information which is incorrect. And some of the things that have been said in this room are correct, and some of them are totally incorrect. And I'm just here to try and keep a sense of balance. Not to defend the council, but to give a bit of balance to the discussion.
Okay, thank you. Now, Malcolm, no, I'm sorry. No, Thomas, I'm sorry. We're at 9:30. No, Malcolm.
Okay, I think Margaret is right. I think in any of your deliberations over the next number of weeks and months, make sure that you treat the elected representatives and the executive with the greatest deal of respect. I ask you to do that, okay? I think that's important. And I think in fairness to David, he's here tonight defending the position that he has taken. But having said that, most of you took part in a process that has now been ignored by the local authority. And added to that, previous to that, in 2007, many people took part in a process that was also ignored by the local authority, which was the so-called public consultation for the Central Access Scheme, which involved an evening in the Rivercourt Hotel where three bridges were presented, and you could pick which bridge you liked the most. And that's the type of public consultation that we have to stop and end and finish here right now. And I think that it's what's really encouraging about tonight is your continued involvement and faith in yourselves in taking part and being here. The question was raised by Kay about the traffic. There's going to be traffic chaos in Kilkenny City because of the Central Access Scheme. Just take the route of it for a second. It comes in the N70. A lot of the traffic, HGV traffic, comes in off the N76 Callan Road. It comes in from agricultural contractors heading out to grasslands, in through a single carriageway road and a single span bridge that is not able to take the traffic at Kennyswell, down through a residential area, through the Butts, severing off the Butts Community Hospital and two of the biggest schools in the city, down through Dean Street and across through Vicar Street and onto a dual carriageway at the other side of the Mart site. And that is the disgraceful planning that has taken place in Kilkenny City over the past number of years. And unfortunately, if we add this to it, we're going to have this business park serviced by that road. And there's no doubt about it, but if you look at the width of the road, the so-called spur road, or the street, the urban street, just compare the width of that road with the width of Parliament Street or the width of Irishtown. There's a considerable difference. And my fear is that I looked at the service delivery plan for 2016, and within that there's a proposal to incorporate Vicar Street and Greensbridge Street into the master plan site. And if that happens, I fear that we may be using extra road infrastructure and extra road widening to lance a boil, which is going to be the traffic chaos that's going to happen at Vicar Street and at Wolfe Tone Street and at Michael Street. And I'm just leaving you on that. I just say I'm hugely encouraged by the participation here this evening. If you get a chance, buy a pint below down in the Home Brew Club. They're closed tonight. Well, it's great to support it, and I think I want to say thanks to the members as well who supported the proposal for a deferral. I think it's unfortunate we didn't get there. But also, just to be fair to all the elected members, there are a lot of new councillors there. I've a case full of information there, and it's just very onerous to get through it all. I'm not trying to make any excuses, but these are huge decisions at which all of the information is not at our disposal. Thank you.
Okay, so we've all had our say. It's been a positive.